Cartoons with John-Marc.
Hey, do you have a pencil and some paper? Let's begin today's lesson.
All right, let's begin today's lesson, and I will be using my graphite pencils for this lesson, and it's going to be a fun, creative little coral reef under the sea. And I'm going to actually shade it in two different ways. I'm going to have the close illustration that I have doing right now, the cartoon in the foreground, a little bit more in detail in the back. I'm going to intentionally make it really, really light because playing up on the coloring later on in my head. So what I have here is I'm just creating a little coral reef, and I'm just going to use my imagination, of course, because I'm playing up with my Friend Fish series that I have been working on for several years right now, and I have a lot of different backgrounds in cartoon fish. I'm working on a little animated series for them right now. But in the meantime, I continually explore different types of coral, life underneath the rocks, the structures, and all the feel. And this is like a little thumbnail I like to play around with. And as you can see, I sketch out really lightly, quickly, and just to get my thoughts out where the placement is. So I have in the far right here is more of the illustration, a little bit heavier than on the far left. There it's going to be a little open up, and that's where I'm going to go really light. And doing so, you can actually create a nice little visual. So in the foreground, you have this wonderful colorization that can be there. I'm seeing in my eye. And if the fish swims behind there and they're talking, interacting, or they can swim thereafter right in front of it when they leave the scene. But in the background on the far left, I have envisioned just really soft and not too important, like fading away, like all back there. This will be all faded in the distance, really, really light. And I'm going to just shade it in. So this is kind of like a comp layout. And what I'm actually going to do is quickly do a coloring for you. And you'll see that at the very end of this lesson. And I'm just going to keep the line art possibly the same, leave the gradation, the shading, on there. I might just pencil. I'm not so sure. I'll decide. But until then, now I'm going to be switching over to my next pencil, which is B, and it's a little bit heavier. So the first step was a really quick representation, and that was the HB pencil, the standard number 2 pencil that everyone pretty much can get in the store. But I would highly recommend exploring different weight graphite pencils when sketching so that you can understand the purpose behind them. Some of them are really soft, which is great, and some of them are really stiff, so you can do a little hard line. So working on this paper, 8.5 by 11 that I'm using, like it's typical copy paper, the soft pencils work great. But as soon as I go to the heavier pencils, the H, like H2 or H7, it would be really like ripping the paper potentially. So you may want to explore a different paper. And bristle would be another whole possibility for that. So this paper is very inexpensive, and for doing these little tests, it's great. But the bristle has a tooth. It's not so smooth. You have smooth finish, and you have a little tooth, which gives a whole different demographic when you are working with your graphite pencil and any medium for that matter. So exploring the similar graphite pencil on different paper will affect the outcome tremendously, believe it or not. So explore all those different ways. Everything doing on the computer cannot give you those practical lessons as doing traditional art. I recommend overall. So now I'm going to take my little B pencil here, and I'm turning it on the side. I'm getting more of the thickness of the graphite pencil, so you're not going to get like a hard edge, and I can really press there. I can tip it up or lie it down a little bit more. I get more of the edge, and I can shade it in more.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, do you have an artist in your family that likes to draw and sketch? We got these 3 cartoon books that your kids will definitely enjoy. So what are you waiting for? Visit our website, that's jmg-studio.biz.
And now, back to our show.
And there we go, just the inside. Those are practice lessons that I've done in the past. You might have seen them but I'm going to be doing future lessons with those once again, just to reinforce when shading and how to use your graphite pencil and shading. So I just create that little illusion, that line there. As you can see now, that's a top highlight. This is a little shady in the back. Highlight here, that's on the top, so I'm shading on the bottom. You can see that used to be flat, but now, just when I just have that line and I shade underneath, you can kind of see it look in two-dimension right now. Likewise for over here, just simple shading, just moving the line structure. It changes the whole feel of the picture. Like back here, this is on the back side, so I'm going to make that a little bit more shadow on there, shadow underneath here. And again, I don't go to the final step of the shading right now. This is just the first layer. I'll come back and I might go a little heavier and so forth. Having a kneaded eraser is really cool. I'm going a little heavier right now on this one, so you can see what I'm saying, this one as well. Kneaded eraser or a white eraser I recommend when you may want to do some gradation, because you can roll over the artwork with the kneaded eraser, and the white eraser you can give like quick highlights on. But in this case, I'm not going to use those techniques right now. Yeah, so I'm going to go a little heavier on here, much darker back there, because that's the little coral on the back side, and this one a little bit heavier too. Now that's when you're going a little heavier and heavier. You can play up it likewise right here now. Now that one I need to make it really dark as well. That gives a little bit more contrast. You can see, there we go. I like that. Then you can come back and take the pencil, still the same one. As you can see, I got the hard edge now. And there we go. Just wrap it around there. So here's the lesson that I really want you to take home with you right now. You may be practicing with me or just watching. As you can see when I'm sketching, you might say, man, I'm going super slow, or man, I'm going super fast. It's my speed, it's not your speed. So don't be pressured to mimic exactly the pace that I'm going. You could go faster or you could go slower, perfectly fine. The bottom line is just having fun, using your imagination, and taking your skill to the next level. It takes years and years of practicing anything to become better. So if this was about 30 years ago, I would not be doing probably what I am now. And likewise, I've been doing this ever since I was like in kindergarten. I remember I still have some of my pictures from my childhood from elementary school. And I've been doing this for over 40 years professionally right now. So the more you practice, the better you will become as an artist. And the more you practice traditionally, you'll be a lot better, way better than doing everything digitally. Digital is a tool. It's not the go-to tool I would recommend. There's a little spots here and there. But it does help speed things up if you did it traditional, because I could have it in layers, and then I could do some colors on the top and finish that little speckles and spots throughout there. Yeah, but on that little coral. I like that. It's pretty good right now. Since I do these corals a lot, and the visual background, it's a little bit easier for me in that case. So what you can see that I'm quickly doing some things is because it's in my muscle memory that I have done in the past, and I might just change a little bit of the visualization close or back. All right, so this little coral, as you can see, when I'm shading, I'm turning my pencil. I started on one side and I'm curving it. I'm curving it so it's not flat shading. My pencil might have a little curve to it, or a little flat right here intentionally. That's a little bit flat. Give it a little second there, a little flat there, but you can see the curvature that I would want a little bit here, bow. I'll show that a little bit more over here too, like over here. That's why I'm getting a little bit heavier here, and I'm just kind of turning it. If I go straight, it'll look flat. And then when I curve it, it kind of gives you that feel. There we go. I'm making attention on that middle spot, like a highlight. And over here, much darker. That's like the sand, the beach bottom of the sea, or is this by the beach? And that's all the sand there. So I'm going to go a little heavier on this side again. And just go really slow. And there's different ways of gradating. You can actually use your finger with the B. As soon as you go to a higher number B, they become very you can really blend it with your finger, or even taking like a tissue and blending it. You can even take like a piece of paper, rolling it up and getting a point to it. There's many different tools that you can buy in the store, but you may not even need that. You have stuff right in the house now. Tissues I've used many times, and then when it gets all too much on there, you just get another tissue. You can throw it away. Those are previous lessons I showed in some of my drawings, and I'm going to be emphasizing those techniques as well. So like if I use my finger, I can smudge it and kind of gradate so it'll look a lot smoother. That is because I'm on the B's. Okay, now let's go here to the next B here. 2B, there you can see it's a little bit heavier. I'm going to go a little bit more weight on my pencil, push it down a little harder, and get that little contrast a lot more right now. Just keep on building up on there. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like, so the corals on the top there, are they going to be like fuchsia or teal in the shadow here? And in the bottom here, they could be like different color orange for the coral. And the beach sand could be like kind of like a little white with some purple, hint of purple in there. And a little shadow line underneath. So probably what I'll do is, where I'm shading right now, I might make a color comp out. I'll use the finished one I have here, and I'll put it on the computer digitally, and I'll just play around with some colors. And then from there, I'll do a cleanup version and possibly mimicking the color comps that I worked on. So that does happen. It's a good practice. You're not going to jump right into your picture and say, that's exactly the color I want. You can, perfectly fine. But not to make any mistakes when you're doing traditionally, because it's a lot harder to pedal backwards when you make a mistake with a color that and the material. Like if you're doing it in oils, it's really forgiving. Acrylics you can, watercolors no, color pencils not as easily in that case. As you can see here, that shadow there, see what that little line there, that little lower lip. Okay, this would be like all sand down here. All sand down there. Yeah, let's get that a little deeper on there. Okay, that's nice. Okay, let's get this little, so behind here, I can just notice I need to get a little bit more darker on that one here. And this one in the back right there, because it's hiding a little different. Let's get a little bit more deeper, a little richer on the tone right now. So sometimes some artists actually paint in gouache or in grays. They finish the entire picture all in grays, and then they'll actually overlay colors on top of that. And the colors would actually blend, and using those gray values as the tone for the actual picture.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Looking for a comic book that the whole family can enjoy? Family friendly, colorful, great stories, actions, suspense, comedy? We got you covered. Visit our website, that's jmg-studio.biz.
And now, back to our show.
I could show that in the layers on the Photoshop after I do that. That's a great thought. Got to make a little note in my head and just creating little textured or patterns, little buttons, little holes or on the coral. They're like sand dollars, and little specks here and there for like little pebbles on the lower section. Randomly just mixing them all over the place right now, here and there. Okay. All right, so let's see. Let's get back to my little bee here. And this is another coral reef, maybe on a shell or a stone. And I'm just going to try to finish this one up. So this area here on the far right, this little coral that's on a shell, and the one in the front, that's the one I'm going to have a lot of contrast and detail on there, where the stuff on the far left there, as you see, is going to be very light. I'm just playing around, like giving some shape to that right now. And as you can see, I'm drawing on the side of my pencil, flip it around, and you get the hard edge again, just as quick as that. There you go. And around here as well. There you go. All right, coming around the corner and around. That's looking good. I like that. Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to get a little bit more of a tone and shading and everything a little bit. So it's not so like flat. It's like I've done other, you might have seen me doing my cactus. I love doing little cartoon cactus with different faces on them. This kind of feels like that right now. All right, finish that little shading there. Give me some texture, some lines or spots. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Maybe we just do a little lines. Yeah, get a little pattern going on. And I'm going with curve as bends down, and this is curving towards me. So those lines just automatically change the flatness of that with the shading. There you go. Kind of gives more dimension to that. And let's just create this. If that might be like a nice beige, like a uh, shell right here, or is it a stone? I'm not so sure, but we'll decide later. Like that's like the middle ground. Let me get the next pencil here for a second, a little darker. Here we go. That's better. Once again, just changing to a heavier B, and a little bit shadowing down there. Yeah. Oh, all the way there. And don't be afraid to use that and sketch on the side all the time. Quick sketches. Time yourself. In art school, we had that when we were doing models or from life drawing to just regular spot drawings in a sense, where we had to be timed. And we had charcoal. And the charcoal, the teacher would say, okay, you got 1 minute, you got 3 minutes to do this, the drawing or this visual right in front of you. And we just had to quickly put it out there and however we did. So that really pushes you to get to use your pencil quicker and or your charcoal um, when you lay it out. It is messier, but I like the pencil in that case. Okay, let's get the stone here back to my B again. And I'm going to start off pretty quick right into that shading. As you can see there, the lines are not all defined. There's mostly the shading. I'm just building that up, and then I can come back and get the hard edge again right there. Little curves here and there where how it looks like a rock. Yeah, that looks good. You could have done it really dark line first and shaded it after. You can go in both ways. Whatever you feel comfortable with at that moment, you're fine. Yeah, I'm just going to shade these really dark, these little stones, or they could be like mini shells. Let's get a couple more stones throughout the area, a little bit bigger. Okay, that's looking good. Shade that a little bit more. Let's see if they get that. There we go. Not too flat. I like that better. Yep. A little deeper on there. That's facing me. You can have some seaweed on there, some little small little crabs could be walking around there. All right, so now I'm going to do the back side here. Now this is what I'm going to intentionally do lighter. And so it's not going to be in all full detail what I just did, and it's just to give you a representation of some background. And that could be all blurred out. I'll go very light. I'm intentionally not going hard. Even though I'm using my B pencil, if I push down hard, it would be really dark. And just going to go light. So the whole background, they could be like a solid color, maybe even a gradation and kind of like little speckles of dirty water, little floating things maybe. Yeah. So everything's going to be solid. Yeah, all the stones there. But I'm going to not push it any more than that. I'm going to make everything pretty equal to that tone intentionally. You can see the separation right there. A little shadow. Just a tint, not too hard. A little bit more for that stone. And a little bit more over there. And it's got a little bit more smoother. I'm smoothing that out. Oh yeah, I feel pretty good what I see right now. Yeah, this is what I want. I have envisioned in my head. And this is where you like little seaweed here. And the same thing. Another one. There's little cuts. There we go. And the purpose again when you're doing all my lessons and you're watching me, I strongly recommend timing yourself, writing down some notes afterwards if it's on paper or some tips that you want to continue, like a little journal. Those are very practical things as an artist to encourage you. And don't throw away your artwork. As I've said from time to time, keeping your artwork gives you a benchmark. And I'm just going to create, if there was like a visual seaweed with little leaves a little bit different and a little bit shaped on there. So what I was just saying, I apologize, thinking and drawing at the same time. So please don't throw away your artwork. It guides you in knowing where you are and where you are going to and what you have done. As okay, now you can see how everything is that same kind of a shading there here. Okay, a little wave in the background. That could be like solid white. All right. I think it's pretty good right now, or you know what? I got it. Let's do the fish. There's a school of different fish in the background here. That's it. And there'll be solid color. So you can't see their full color. So it's like a silhouette. That looks good. I like that. And a couple ones here and there. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Just about done with this lesson right now. Yeah, a little more fish here and there. Okay, another one on top. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, let's do a random one down here. Okay. And another one here. Yep, looking pretty good. And overlapping another one here. So you can see that would be all solid color that I would have there. Looking good. All right, so as always, make sure you sign and date and share with your family and friends. Thanks for watching this lesson and have a blessed day.